Mridul, can you just please check for me that mine looks okay after installing yesterday? Like
Yeah,
my,
it does. I checked it, but let me double check.
Mhm.
Share your screen. Yeah, we even wrote the code
Oh,
right there.
okay.
And if you hit the run button and it runs this code and displays it right here,
Okay. Thank
it
you.
works. You're welcome.
Okay.
Welcome to the second class of Java, guys. If you missed a class, you must watch the video going forward because otherwise you'll be so confused. Everything builds on one another. Right now, we're working on, let's say, first floor. Next weekend, it's going to be second floor. If you don't have the first floor, you can't build the second floor. So if you have to miss for any kind of life reasons, find a time to watch the previous videos. My latest videos take time posting. So I'll probably post the videos from yesterday, and anything missing, I'm going to post it here in the winter 2022. You have a choice. I have video from summer season as well. And you see, it's organized like that. Here's the intro to Java. Here's variables. Today's class is variables and operators. You can click here, you can download and watch the video. So all of that is available. For your group, it's going to be posted here like this. Okay, it's going to have that name on it. I have your group name, Winter 2022. And then if it's a Java video, it's going to say Java right here, name of the lesson. So watch that. If not, you can always go to the lesson itself. And there's the video. You can watch that. Is it going to be exactly same? No, because I don't remember. Um, I don't always teach exactly same way, sometimes different, depending on the group, depending on the pace. But is the materials going to be covered? The same material that I cover today, will it be covered here? Or was it covered here? Yes. So should not be a problem at all. Anyway, so today we're going to look at a few shortcut keys that you can use on Eclipse. We might look at some settings, error handling I showed you yesterday. We're going to learn variable declaration, what that is, and dynamic initialization. We're going to learn a concept called primitive versus non-primitive data types. We're going to learn what data type is. We're not going to talk about this today. We're not going to do user input today. We're going to do user input next weekend. And we're going to do operators. So not going to do this one and this one. Let's get started. So, an American word dictionary, there's like millions of words. Oxford Dictionary has 273,000 English words. Java luckily only has about 50. words that I'm going to teach you. In fact, there's a lot of these words I'm never going to teach you. You're never going to need it. For example, this transient, volatile, synchronized, native. We're not going to go over those. We're going to go over these today. Not going to go over this today. You already saw class that came up. We're going to talk about if, else, condition later in a couple of weekends. Some of this will never be covered like this. Today you will see true and false, what that is. We'll never cover this one, or this, or this. So essentially, you're probably only going to be using about 20 to 30 words to do all your coding. Okay? And that's it. So it's really, really easy for anybody to grasp it. The only thing is, it's the logic that you have to understand, that how am I going to write things, and how that your specific writing matters, where and what sequence you use, all of that matter. So that's what you have to be very careful about. You can press Control-Shift-L on your Eclipse, and what it will do is open up a lot of shortcut keys that are there already for you. You would be able to use it. For example, if I am on my Eclipse and I press Control-Shift-L, gives me this window. And it tells me that these are some of the things that you can do. And these are, excuse me, as soon as I hit my pen tool, it goes away. Okay, so these are the actions, and these are the shortcut keys. You're welcome to explore through these and use these button configurations to do all that. I am not going to go over each and every one of these, how it's done. I'm going to give you one thing at a time. Definitely we'll show you a couple of these today that you're going to be using a lot. So Control F1, you can run your application. So here's a couple of ways you can run your application. One is this button right here. Two, you can press the control. Watch this. If I press Control F1, it's going to run this again. Let me close this first. Let's see if I can delete this. It won't delete. Well, let's say print face, and I want to run this. I can just press Control F11. There, I press Control F11. It gave me this. Next. Control D is deleting a row. So if I wanted to delete this row, I can keep my cursor on it and press Control D. It will delete that entire row for me really quickly. I can press Control Z to bring it back again. Control Shift F formats code. What does that mean? That means, let's say I'm a messy code writer. I have one here, this one back here, this one has a lot of space, and then it's like way over there. And I don't want to go through and clean this up. Then I can just click here. Maybe I need to select the whole thing, but let's see. If I click inside the code and press Control-Shift-F, voila.
Vidul, can you zoom it?
Yes.
Little more bigger.
Is that better? It should be okay on your screen, Sangeeta. If it's not, there's something wrong with your screen. Maybe you're only looking at a small, tiny window. Maybe you need to maximize it. The reason I don't want to go any bigger than this is because I would be writing multiple lines of code down here later, and you need to be able to see it. If I zoom in anymore, you will only see the zoomed in version of the code, and that's not going to help you much. So either your computer screen is small, or you are only looking at this window very in a small, like this kind of window. Let's say it has not been maximized, and maybe you're looking at it like that. Then in that case, maximize your screen. Maximize that window, presentation window, so you can see it better, bigger. Oh, by the way, Sangeeta, you have an option. You have an option to zoom in on your presentation window. There's a plus button and a minus button
Maximize that.
somewhere. I can't see
Mhm.
your screen, but
What's
you'll
that?
be able to see it.
It's at the right side of the screen. When the go to at the right side, you can just take your mouse over there. You're gonna see.
You see that?
Is the camera plus minus share screen?
Yeah, there's a plus or minus sign that you can click, increase or decrease.
To zoom in and zoom out, you mean?
Correct. Correct. So when you see that, oh, this is too tiny, I can't really see, go ahead and zoom in, but you need to zoom out as well, because when you're zooming in, you're only zooming in on my screen. That means I may be on a separate piece of the screen and you may not be able to see what I'm typing in. Make sense?
Yes, that is what, yeah. When I zoom in, it happens.
Right. So zoom in and zoom out, but I used to do that. I would zoom in on when I see the presenter writing, and I'm like, okay, let me just zoom in on that line. Because he's only on that line right now, I know that. And then when he moved away from that line, I would zoom out and see where he is. Okay, use that technique.
Oh, I understood.
This is a very, very important button for you, because look at this. I can mess it up. I can go here. I can put a couple of space here. And now if I press Control-Shift-F, Control-Shift-F, all three of them together, everything gets nicely aligned for me. You must do this every time you finalize your code before you submit it to me. Any question? Next is Control M. Maximize or minimize your current tab. Let's see what that looks like. So you are on this window here, and let's say you're working on it right now, and you're like, I'm just typing code here. I really don't need this, and I really don't need this. I just want to write my stuff here. Then what can I do to just focus here? In that case, if you press the Control M button, look what happens. Everything closes and just gives me this page where I'm writing this down. So I'll be using this so that you can get the maximum view of the code. When I want to go back, you can click on Control M again and bring you back. Any questions about Control M? If you ever mess up your screen format like this and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to get back this window, that window, or it got all messed up? Like, let's say I deleted this package explorer right here. If I hit this X button, that window is gone. And let's say I accidentally closed this one down or minimized it and I don't even know where it is. It's gone. And I'm like, how am I going to get back to the previous setup that I had? Well, fear not. It's easy. You click on this window, select appearance. No, sorry, not that one. You go to perspective, and then in here, select reset perspective. Then it will reset how it was displaying it to you. Click OK. Look at that. It took you back to the original setup. And you can move this window around to adjust it, and you can close this again. Like, I don't need this outline right now. I can close that. Again, I can press Control M and say, I'm only working on this window. Let me just see this window right now. And then go back to previous. Control M again. Next, Control I is another thing that will fix your indentation. So if I do this and press Control I, it fixed it for me. So Control Shift F and Control I is kind of like the same thing. Let's see if it does it for multiple line. Control I only does single line. It will only do single line. But if I mess up a whole bunch of this and then press Control Shift F, it will clean up all of it for me. With me so far, guys?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So for the window setup, go to back. You said where we have to go. Window, then where? I lost
Window.
it.
Perspective.
Okay.
Reset perspective.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Welcome. Control 1, quick fix error while cursor on the error. Okay. So what this is, if I have an error, let's say I typed in wrong and it's giving me this red thing right there. Okay, I got this red. If I hover over, obviously it gives me a suggestion how to fix it. But what if it doesn't sometimes? If it doesn't, you just press Control 1. It will, excuse me, it's not going to work on my machine because I set up Control 1 to zoom in. But in your machine, if you press Control 1, then this window, recommendation window, is going to open up. If I read this recommendation, it says method this, which is print ds, whatever I wrote, is not identified for the type print string. And it's telling me there's two quick fixes. One, change to println, add cast to system. Don't want to go there today, but change to println is going to fix it. If I click here, took all that gibberish that I typed here and fixed the code for me, and now it's working. But if you press Control 1 on your computer, when you see an error, it will open up this window for you. Or you can hover over the red squiggly line like this. If I hover over, then it tells me the recommendation right here on how to fix. Any question about that?
Friend, I have one question.
Mhm.
If I, by mistake, delete any file, then how can I retrieve it again? After closing all the things, I deleted the file, I closed the program. Now I need to open the program and I retrieve the deleted documents. So how can I do that?
If you deleted a file, there is no easy way for you to getting it back from here. There's a system engineering way that we can retrieve that file, but that's outside the scope of today's class. So for now, if you just delete a file, I would recommend go ahead and create another one.
Okay.
Now, accidentally, if you deleted a line, for example, let's say I deleted this line, Control D to delete. Immediately you can press Control Z and it will bring it back to you. Like that. But if you already gone from here and went somewhere else, did something else, this Control Z may or may not work. Okay. Let me fix this up. The next idea was maximize, organize import. Okay. So Control Shift O organizes import. What import is? Right now, there is no import here. Generally, what happens is in between this package class practice and this class name called print phrase, over here, we may have to import a few things. Right? Import other packages right here. And if you have anything messed up here, you can press that Control Shift O and it will clean that up. More of that you're going to see in Selenium class. Right now, you're not going to be using it. I'm going to delete this off. And I can't really show you a good example because then I'll have to go into something deeper. I don't want to. Control / Okay. What if you wanted to, you wrote a lot of stuff, like you wrote, this program is created to display a face okay, and then you wrote the following code will do that. I cannot write. Okay, do that. And you wrote this. You wrote this for the developer to see this and understand what these several lines of code is going to do. But you don't want this Java to compile it. Look, Java is already throwing an error. Java is saying, I don't understand what you wrote here. This or is or created. He does understand what this do is, because do is one of those 50 words in Java. Everything else is not. So you're like, oh, I forgot. I wanted to comment this out. I want to comment this. Comment means don't let. So comment means Java, don't let Java to compile. Okay, don't let Java to compile this part. Now, for you to shortcut do that, you saw yesterday, you could just put / twice, / twice. Everything turns green, meaning Java is no longer going to look at it. A shortcut way for you to do this is if you select all of this and say, I don't want any of these get compiled by Java. First, you have to select it like this and then press Control / then the whole thing is going to get blocked. Look at this. I just press Control / and automatically all 3 of these lines now has these double / and the whole thing got commented. So that's a shortcut way of commenting things out. I'll be using that quite a bit. Any question? Okay. Another shortcut?
I have one question.
Go ahead.
Say I have like 5-6 lines of code written, like system out, but I want to run only 2 of them. Is it possible?
Can you repeat the question?
Say you just wrote like 5-6 lines of code, right, with the system out syntax, but I want to run only 2 of them, not all of them. Is it possible?
No, you cannot run all of them. You cannot run 2 of them. You can only run 1 at a time.
Okay.
So our last one is Control-Shift-W. What it does, it closes all the tabs for you. If you have multiple tabs open, it's going to close it. Okay, let's take a look at it, the application of it. Here you got a tab open called Print Face. I can double click on Scientific Formula. That gives me a tab. Gives me my pen tool just broke. Eclipse doesn't want me to write on it for some reason. Why is that? Anyway, it's not working. I need to restart this. So if I have this multiple window open, and also this kind of extends your question, Stanley, can you run both of these together? Well, the answer is no, not in this setup.
No. My question is in one. Say you went to like scientific formula, right?
Mhm.
Only scientific formula here, or maybe go to where you have multiple lines. Print face. Maybe print face.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to run only first 2 lines. You wrote
Yes.
5 lines of code, right? I don't want to run 5. I want to run only 2 lines. First 2 lines.
Yes.
Is it possible?
Yes. Yes, that's possible. Here's what you can do.
Yeah.
You can comment this part right here. You're like, I just want to test this. I wrote this, but I don't want to test this yet. So what you do is you comment this part out. You select it, press Control // that got commented. Now if you click run, only those 2 lines, line number 12 and 13, got run and displayed this to you. But you're like, okay, now I'm ready. I think I can run this one. So let me unblock this. Press Control // the blocking is gone, commenting is gone. This is opened up. Run it, see if it works. And you can keep on doing that. Understand?
Yes. Thank you.
Now you got that face. All right. Now, if you have multiple tabs open here and you're not in the right tab, your cursor is not in the right tab, if you hit the run, it's going to run something that you might get confused. Like this scientific formula. If I have this cursor here, but I want to run this print face, and if I run it, one day it might just run the scientific formula and not the print face, and you might be like, why am I getting this output? Well, that's because you got too many things open. Either you close it yourself with this X button, or right click and then select close. Either close tabs to the left, that will close everything on the left, or you could just say close all close all will close everything and then start from fresh. Come back here and then open this up and then run it. Always have one open when you're running something. Don't have multiple. Now there's a shortcut way of closing everything. So let's say I got this 4 things opened up right here, and I can press this shortcut key, Control Shift W. So if I'm here and press Control Shift W, it will close all of those for me. Okay, all those windows got closed. And then I can come back and open up the one I want. That's all for your shortcut keys. Any questions? You already saw this one. Sys out and then press Control Space, and that's going to give you the system out.println. So you're welcome to use that. You got this. I didn't show you this. The main part. You don't need it right now. Just ignore that. Eclipse theme. You can change your theme setup right here in Eclipse. You can go to Window, Preferences, and type in theme. Hit enter. It gets you this right here. This under the theme section, you can select either classic, dark, or light. I use dark for my purposes because it's easy on the eye. Watch this. If you hit apply, it's asking me to restart. I'm not going to restart, but you see everything became black. Well, it's easy on the eye. All the white, blue light is not going to bother you. You're welcome to change it to this black screen, the dark mode, and use it. But for presentation purposes, I'm just going to be using the classic white mode. I'm just going to say don't restart right now and cancel this out. Oops, it did make some changes. Let's go back and fix that. Preferences, theme, and I want to go back to classic. Apply, don't restart. Apply, close, and I'm back here. So that's one thing you can do. I just showed you this window perspective, reset perspective. This is how you would bring your window format back. Yesterday, I showed you how to look at your errors in your code. You can always start from this source. It's going to give an exclamation mark, or it's going to have an X icon there telling you your problem is in this folder, all the way down to the file where your folder is. When you double click and open the file, it's going to have the X button right next to the line of code where you made the mistake. And then if you look at that line, underneath the word is going to have a squiggly line telling you that's where the mistake is. Sometimes it could be in multiple places, like this too. And you can hover over it to see what the recommendation is if you don't know what mistake you made. And you choose the recommendation provided for you. We talked about the letter casing, the uppercase, lowercase, Pascal case. We talked about the escape sequence, except did not go over it in detail. You know that escape sequence will allow you to print the quotation mark, but there are other escape sequences that can do things for you. And one is it can insert a tab for you. If you put /T, it will add a tab. Insert a backspace, insert a new line, insert a single quote and a double quote, And if you wanted to display a backward slash, just do 2 of those. Only one will get displayed. I will just show quickly a couple of these. So let's say I go in here. I'm going to close this out and create a new one. Since today's class is called variables and operators, I'm going to create another Java project. Every day we're going to create a Java project, so you'll see how this is done. I'm going to call it variables. Java variables operators and operators. There's my project. I'm going to go here, create a package, call it classwork. In this package, I'm going to create a class called escape sequence. In Pascal case. Click on public static void main and open up this for me to work in. Control M to enlarge it. And delete that part. Suppose I wanted to print this out, space enter, and I want to print, hello, my name is Stein. I am an automation engineer. Okay, just wanted to write this. If I print this out, it's going to give me this. Hello, my name is Stein. I am an automation engineer. But what if I wanted to add a line right in here? I wanted to say my name is Stein here, and then I want this whole thing to be underneath that. Well, you can. You can put a line break here by just putting this backward slash the letter N. And I don't even have to put a space here. I can just leave it right next to this. What happens is when Java looks at this backward slash and then the letter N, he already knows that all you wanted over here to do is drop this sentence below this particular sentence right here. So if I run it now, this I am an automation engineer now went below that first sentence here. I use this a lot in test automation. That's the only one I'm going to give you an example of, and you're welcome to go into the PowerPoint and try to insert these other ones to experiment and see how that works. Now let me show you this, backward slash at least. So what if I wanted to print a couple of backward slash right here, let's say, right before hello? Well, if I put a backward slash, it's all confused now. I get an error because backward slash is used for escape sequence. Java is looking for that special character that you're going to put in to do something. And H is not that special character, so he's all messed up. But if you say backward slash, another backward slash, you're like telling Java, hey, all I want you to do is print this backward slash. Now if I run it, I will get only one of them because the first one was used to only display, was to tell Java that, hey, you wanted to only display this, but not use it as an escape sequence. Question? I'm resetting my perspective because I don't like the way it was displaying. One thing I can do is I can drag this window and put it on the right side and say, I want this to display right here. You are able to do that. Here's my output window. And I can bring it up here and then show side by side what's going to get printed. Okay, any questions about escape sequence?
If we want to display 2 backward slash, should we give 3 backward slash in the code?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Next thing is the top banner play button is one way that you can run your program. You have a package explorer. You can right click. I did not show you this, so let me show you that. What you can do here, another way, is you can go to this package explorer and go on the code that you want to run, the class file, right click on it, and you will see a run as button. And you can run as, and you can click on Java application, and it will run this for you again. It's going to show you right there. I can go to another one, print phase. I can right click, run as Java application. It's going to run and display the results for you. Okay. So that's just several ways that you can run the same thing or different thing and from different particular spots. All right. Let's jump into the variables. Now that you know all the tools, quick stuff that you can use. So let me just jump into the code. I'm not going to display the presentation to you. It just gets annoying going back and forth. So I'm going to close this all out. Let me close all of this. And close that too. I'm going to create another class. I'll do all my notes in here now. Variables. Public static void main. Finish. Now let's do the notes here. Okay.
I have a question. Like, why we are always selecting that a public static void main?
Stanley, I can't answer that today.
Oh, okay, no problem,
Yeah.
no problem.
There's a lot of technical stuff that goes with this.
Okay, understand, no problem.
Bear with me, maybe in a couple of weeks.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah. For now, just play around with typing stuff inside. So what is a variable? Let me do a block comment. Yeah, that was /* / and do all the notes here. By the way, all this information is available on the PowerPoint. What is every class file is made of 2 components. What do I mean by class file? This is a class file. This is a Java class file. Pay attention that this name variables has to match exactly as the file name, variables.java. That's your class file. What's in it? There's 2 things that's going to be in it. And that is, it's going to have it's going to have variables, and 2, methods. Okay. Now let me restore my pen tool because I really need to draw this. So hold on, give me like a couple of minutes to debug this, why this is not working anymore. Okay, it's working now. All right. So imagine a human being. Okay. You have a person, and it's not going to be a good drawing at all. But I hope you get the picture. So you have this human being here. All right. Here. Variable is the brain, is the memory. Okay. All the information that can change. Variable comes from the word vary or vary, various. Other words are various, meaning different kinds or different things, or a number or something that you store that can change over time. Kind of like your memory. In your memory, when you were born, you didn't know anything. And then as you grow, you have more stuff that you learn about, and it gets bigger and more, enriched, to a fancy word. That's what variable is. And method is capability of doing something. Okay? Like your hand. You're able to fry an egg in a frying pan. You're able to hold it and fry something. Your legs, you're able to walk and go from one place to another. So these are called methods. Okay? So I want you to think it like that. I want you to think of a class is nothing but a human. And it has 2 things. One is called a variable that stores information, like a storage, and methods that does something. I want you to think of also this like a kitchen. You go to your kitchen, and all the kitchen cabinets that you see is like variables. You got all your spices there. You got salt and pepper. You got plates stored in one of those cabinets. You got other cabinets for other things. One has coffee, hopefully if you organize them. And then you have a pantry stuff. All of this is nothing but a storage or variable. Well, why variable? You're like, well, I just got coffee over there. Why is that a variable? It never changes. Well, today you like community coffee. Tomorrow you might like, I don't like that. Let me go upgrade it to Starbucks coffee. And you can put Starbucks coffee in there. That's exactly what this does. It will store and it will refresh. You can change things up and you can organize it the way you want to. That's what it does. But you also got a stove oven. This is not a storage. You don't put stuff in your oven to store things. Well, what you do is you got these knobs right here and you got this heat stuff right there. This one actually does something. It has an action. It's a machine. You can put in a raw cake batter inside and turn it on, and 50 minutes later, a wonderful cake comes out, and you can eat that. That machine is the method. Understand? Any question? So you got an analogy of two things. One is a human, one is a machine. So either way you want to look at it, from a kitchen perspective or a human perspective. But that's all we're going to be doing in these classes, and you will see how this gets deeper and deeper with this. Okay? So now, today's class, we're going to talk about variables. So variables are a storage for data. This data can be stored, changed, and retrieved. Retrieved means you can ask for it anytime. You can call it and it's going to give it to you right away. Let's take a look at an example and how we do it. Let me write the syntax first. So the syntax is you write a second. You write data type, and then you give it a name. Okay, I'm taking a lot of time on this because I'm really I want you to understand this fully before I go any farther, because this is where I can break people or make people. I might lose you forever, or I might really get you in the door of this coding. So this is how we're going to write. We're going to put a data type, and we're going to put variable name. I really need to go back a few steps to show you a few things before I get you here. Naming convention, okay? How do we write this variable name? So I want to first go there and talk about it. Let's take a look at that slide. Ignore this top part here. So the variable naming, first thing is case sensitive. That means if you write the word money, it's not the same thing as this capital M-O-N-E-Y. Not the same as this money, even though it says money. Or if I say all caps money, that means if this is your kitchen cabinet and you named it money, and another kitchen cabinet you named that money, this cabinet and that cabinet is not the same. Computer will think of this as a cabinet and this is another cabinet. So is this one. So is this one. Make sense? A variable must start with a letter. Variable name, you cannot start with any kind of special characters or numbers. You must start with the letter. You can use number and $ and underscore after the first character, but your first character has to be a number. You cannot also choose variable name from the 50 special words that Java has reserved for coding purposes. And you want to have your name to be very unique. It doesn't match with something else. Otherwise, your program is going to crash. It's not going to know what to do. And when you give it a name of a variable like a kitchen cabinet, all right, I want to say a cabinet. If I want to give a kitchen cabinet a name that's going to have coffee in it, I might say this is a coffee corner or coffee storage cabinet, something like that, that explains what's actually in it. You want to label it in a way that somebody walk into your kitchen and be able to look at the cabinet names and say, oh, that's where you have your coffee in it. So that will be the best way. It's a descriptive way. Provide descriptive names so that it's understandable. Code will be more maintainable in that case. Okay. So here's a few examples right here. You can unmute yourself and you just shout out and tell me if this is a good variable name. Okay. Anybody?
No, is there a 0 in the first?
It's a 0, yeah.
Yeah, so you can't.
Because it's a 0, you cannot have this as a variable name because numbers are not allowed. Stanley, you are correct. What about this one? Anybody? Come on,
It will
unmute
hide.
yourself, communicate, participate in class, or what are you here for?
Must start with a letter.
Must start with a letter. This is
There,
not allowed. So this is
also
also
there
not
is a number like, yeah.
This is fine. First letter has to be a letter. After that, you can have a number. But this first part cannot use a symbol like the dollar symbol. So that's why that's also not accurate. What about this one?
Yeah, this is okay.
It is not. This quotation
Can have, yeah, quotation.
cannot be used. Only the dollar sign can be used anywhere in here, not the first. An underscore and a number can be used. Any other characters, special characters, cannot be used. And especially this is, remember, this is a character that's used in one of those 50 things that Java does for quotations and strings. So therefore, this is going to get all confused. Therefore, that's not going to work either. What about this one?
Yeah, this should be good.
It
This
should
is
be
good.
good, except variable names has to be in camel case. Look at this one. Capital in the beginning, it's a Pascal case. Even though it's going to work, it's not going to throw any problem. But if you want to do real good Java, like a standard writing Java, this is also not acceptable. What about this one?
No,
Why?
That shouldn't be.
number.
Because you have this special character to start
Yeah.
the wording, it's not acceptable. What about this one?
It should be fine.
That's correct. This is allowed. What about this one?
That's again starts with uppercase. I think that's the problem.
It starts with uppercase. That's the problem. What else is the problem here?
The space.
It has a
Space.
space in Java, no space allowed.
Yes.
Can be.
What about this one?
That's with
No,
number
it's,
one.
yeah.
It starts with number 1. Is that allowed?
No,
That's
it's not
not
allowed.
allowed.
It's not allowed.
Number is not allowed, right?
Number is allowed in the middle or left or to the right, but not at the beginning. What about this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is no, it's not good because I mean we can, but the first letter is a capital. But underscore is fine because it's at the after.
Java will not throw an error on this one. It's okay. But is this in camel case?
No, it's in Pascal, right?
What case is this?
Pascal?
You can say Pascal, but it has this underscore making it more like a snake case.
So it becomes Pascal and Snake.
It's Pascal and snake case together.
Yep.
Industry standard, don't do it. What about this one?
I think it will be okay.
I see it.
Computer is not going to throw you an error, but again, not the best way to do this. This one?
No,
All the capital case.
that's all capital.
All capital, not allowed. It needs to be in camel case. So what about this one if I do it lower?
That's good.
Is it going to work?
Yes.
I think it
Yes.
should.
Actually not, because this public word is out of those 50 words.
It should
Remember
work.
that public static void main?
Oh,
It's going to look at that public and it's going to get all confused. You cannot use one of those 50 reserved words for your naming convention. What about this one? Main.
all with uppercase allowed? Not allowed, right?
Not just that, look at this. Is that one of the 50 words? Main. You cannot use that.
Oh.
This one? Anybody?
Can you zoom out? I don't
Yeah.
see it.
It's right here. Sangeeta, you need to zoom out. On
Yeah,
your
it might work.
Might
Zoom
or
out.
will?
No more working in my screen.
Because this is camel case, so
No, this,
it should work.
As a matter of fact, it is
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
one of the best name you can have. A is camel case. B, it's very descriptive. It tells you what it's storing. Data storage for number 1 that you will need. I know it's too much. Maybe this has gone overboard, this part. It's not needed. This data storage for number 1, that would be a very good name for a storage where you want to store something. You want to be descriptive. Okay. So yes, this is preferred versus single word here and there. All of those namings are really bad and not going to work well. Okay. There goes the naming convention. Let's take a look at the data type. What does data type mean? Data type is like you have multiple kitchen cabinets. All right. This is your data type. That's kind of like you got this kitchen, you got 4 cabinets. You bought a new kitchen. You got 4 cabinets. All right. This first cabinet is designed for you to put coffee stuff in here, all coffee canisters. Okay. The second one, so let's say this is coffee. Second one here is designed for you to store all your masala. Okay, cooking turmerics and ginger and stuff. The third one is designed to have plates. And the fourth one can hold glasses, cups, glass, and stuff like that. Okay. In Java, this is your data type. Type, it's like a type of cabinet can only store glasses. A type of cabinet that's called plates can only store plates, dinner plates, and stuff like that. If you try to put coffee in here, Java is going to complain, and it's not going to work. Okay? The coffee cabinet, a data type of coffee, is only going to take coffee. If you put anything else in it, it's not going to work. Understand? Let's take a look at the technical piece now. There is actually two types of kitchen cabinets in Java. One is called primitive. The other is called non-primitive. Primitive is like way back, like the monkey time when human was monkey. Okay, we human did not get created yet. We are still monkeys. There's no electricity. That's called primitive, meaning way back. Non-primitive is like the new ones. This is where the new things came in. So this is like very old. When the world was created, God created sun and God created light and the earth. That's that primitive time. And now in the future is the non-primitive stuff. Okay, under primitive, let's take a look at what was there. Several things. One, two categories. One is numeric, meaning numbers. You can put numbers in there. And the other is non-numeric, meaning what if you didn't want to put numbers? Numbers is where you want to do calculations. And non-numeric is where you don't need to do any kind of calculations with. So under that particular category, there was this something called integer and floating point. I'll talk about it shortly. And in your integer, you had a couple of types in here. One's called byte, short, int, and long. These are there. These are like the kitchen cabinet types. And you can put those kinds of stuff in it. Okay? We're not going to use all of it, but I just need to show you what's there. Now, under the floating point, what floating is decimal. So the difference between an integer and a floating point is integer could be any solid number, like 5 or 35 or 260. These are all integers. But a floating point is where if you have, let's say, 5.12, all right, you can have 35.61. This having decimal makes it a data type called floating point. You can have 3.14, 5627. This is the pi. All of these decimals are going to go into this floating point. And this is a lot of mathematical stuff, guys. I don't need you to learn all this, but I just wanted to quickly go over. Now, there's two types of decimal stuff that you can store. One is called a double, the other is called a float. Float is if you have a decimal but a smaller number, and double is if you have a decimal but a huge number, it will store it. The name says double, means it's double the size of this floating or float data type. Okay. And that's all for numeric stuff, the number stuff. So you're probably like, oh my God, it's so complicated. Well, no, you're only going to be using this right here, int. we're going to be using int, and we're going to be using double. So anytime you have a decimal number, we're going to put it in double, in the cabinet called double. And anytime you have a regular number, we're going to put it in int. Any question on this?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Can the numeric value would be negative or positive?
Right. It could be.
Okay.
I have a slide. I'll show you a range of numbers that can fit in that. Any other questions on numeric, primitive?
One, like, why we only gonna use double? Why not float?
You can use float. But float has a weird notation which uses like a letter F in it and makes it a little more messy. Complicated. I don't know why Java designed it that way, but I noticed that nobody wants to mess around with that data type called float because of that the lowercase f that you have to write with the number. And therefore, I'm not even going to show you that. I want to keep things simple. We're not here a data scientist. We're just here to test applications. So we really don't need to learn Java to that point where we're going to be using this float, but there are some applications where this float might be handy. You see this long right here? This long is actually double or maybe 5 times more storage space than this int. Okay, it's like you want a kitchen cabinet that's much bigger. You can put a lot of stuff in here, then you have to get this long. But you're like, oh, that's gonna cost me double the money to get the cabinet. Well, then don't use it. Just use this one. You can fit all your stuff in here, actually. Now, unless you are a scientist and you're messing around with big numbers, then you're gonna need this data type called long. But we're not gonna need it. You will never need it in our work. We can just do int. Now, short is a smaller cabinet than int. Hey, we can get this int for the same price as short. Why do we need to use the short? Or byte? We're not going to use those. With me so far? And I want to keep things easy for you guys. That's why I don't want to go there. For non-numeric, there's two things. One called Boolean. We're going to be using this, by the way, a lot. Boolean is just like either true or false. So there's only two values that can go inside this Boolean cabinet. It's like a cabinet you open up and you don't know what you're going to get in it. One day you might get a postcard that says, I love you, or open up, it might say, I hate you. There's nothing in between it. And that's like the word true or false. If it's a true, it's positive. If it's false, it's negative. It's not going to be anything more than that. That's what Boolean is. You will see it in action shortly. And character that doesn't do any kind of mathematics, it's part of the non-numeric data type. Take a look at non-primitive, meaning these are fancy, these are new. Maybe God didn't create it, but human created it. Okay? And that's one of them is called strings. We're going to use this a lot. Wait for this for like next few weekends, and we'll get to that. But today's class, we're just going to be using int, double, and string, Boolean. Not also going to use this because this character right here actually can be wrapped up with this right here. A character can take a character, but a string is multiple characters. Okay, it can take one character too. In this string cabinet, you can put one character if you want to, or you can put a whole paragraph and it's still fine. It fits. Actually, this is so amazing. This is an amazing cabinet human created this cabinet later down the road, that this can get bigger and bigger as you need it. It never really ends. There's no end to this cabinet. This is an infinite cabinet that stores strings, which is basically a whole bunch of characters, or a paragraph, or an essay, you name it, or the entire book can be stored inside this. Okay? Question? All right. The next slide is going to give you a bit of a range. This is for the nerds. You don't need this. But if you want to go deeper into this, then you can take a look at this. A Boolean is going to either have true or false inside that cabinet. A char, C-H-A-R, is going to have a single character. A byte is a number, numerical cabinet. And this is the maximum number you can have in a byte. You can have a negative 128 to all the way positive 127. In short, it's a little bit bigger number. Look at this. You can have a maximum of negative this, maximum of positive that, minimum of negative this, maximum of positive that. Int is even bigger. We're never going to be using anything bigger than this number. So this works. But you want more space? The int doesn't fit you? You can take long and do that. Here's your float and double. That's part of the decimal number. And right now it's written in scientific notation. I don't want to explain scientific notation to you guys. Don't worry about it. Just know that you're going to be using double for any kind of decimal type of number. It's going to look like this. 0.0 or a number 0.0 and so forth. I will show you how we get some errors if we mess it up. Try to put stuff in a wrong cabinet in a second. It's really hard to show everything all at once. Any question so far on this range of data? Okay, I have a PowerPoint slide to show you some examples of this. So if you wanted string, if you want to store your name, you're going to be storing that in a cabinet called string. If you have a sentence you want to store and display, you're going to store it in string. If you have a true or false statement, you store it in something called Boolean. If you want to do mathematical operations, you store it in int and double. That's all you're going to need, guys. Even though there's more, you're never going to need this in my class. Understand? So you have been just given 4 types of cabinets, and that's all you have to live with. Okay. And just to point out something, can anybody tell me what's the difference between this string versus these 3?
String is the character only, where you should specify the character by putting double colon so that it comes exactly what it is. So this may not be used for any formula or array or something like that, but the other has the numeric value and maybe the formula. I'm not sure.
You are correct. You are correct, Chisti. But this question is looking for one more difference. I think, Loretta, did you want to say something?
String is the method.
Yeah, it's the method, but I don't want to go there today. What did I cover about string and these 3? What's the difference between string? Biggest
So
difference.
You are saying that primitive and the non-primitive.
Correct. Correct. Recruiter might ask you, what's a primitive data type? You're going to say Boolean, int, double. If you want to throw this name, float, byte, short, long, char for character. These are all primitive data type. If they say, what type of data is string, or what type of data type is string, your answer is going to be it's a non-primitive. Understand? So the difference between string and this bracket right here, these three babies, is these are primitive. Data type right here. Okay. I don't know if you notice, why is this capital and why are these all lowercase? Because lowercase is indicating that this is a primitive data type. All primitive data types are written in lowercase. And non-primitive that are new are written in uppercase data type, such as string. There is actually a lot more than string that's out there. I'm only going to show you string today. But any data type that's going to have a capital letter like this, that's going to be your hint that this is a non-primitive data type. Question? Okay. Let's go to this slide and then we'll go into the editor. So how do we write, or how do we declare a variable, or go to a kitchen and hook up a cabinet to put stuff in there? Well, you are like the contractor. You're going to go in and build a cabinet and you're going to put stuff in there, okay? Here's the first thing you can do. You don't even have to put any stuff because you're just a contractor right now. You can go in and create a cabinet just like this. What you do is, first, you write the name of the data type, which is int, and then you give it a name of what it's going to be inside that cabinet. Now, this data type, you cannot choose. You cannot create it. It's already given for you. We talked about it. You can use the int word. You can use the double word. Okay. And you can use string with capital. Okay. String. And that's all there is to it. You cannot change this up. But you get to choose what do you want to put on top of that cabinet. The name of that cabinet, you get to choose that. Again, your name needs to be camel case, and it needs to be more like very descriptive of what it does. So a single word is okay. Multiple word describes it better. Therefore, that's more preferred. We will see that shortly. So here, our first part is that data type. And the second part is the variable name. And then we do a semicolon to close it, and we're done. It's kind of like this kitchen pantry. And down here, this pantry that you built can only store int, and that's what you meant. That I just created a kitchen pantry that's going to store nothing but int. And you created a box and you put all the stuff that's age related in here. You labeled it as age, but you did not put anything in it yet. It's all empty. You just built the shelf. And that's what this code is going to do for you. Any question?
So here we only designate the shelf, I mean the type of data inside the integer, is it?
So that's right. What you did is so far is, you see, you're not really writing a whole lot. To build this cabinet, all you had to do is just say int. Immediately Java comes and gives you this shelf. And Java knows that you're about to put stuff in here that's only going to be the type int. If you try to put anything else that's not type int, Java is going to fail. So this int word gives you this entire cabinet. And this age word gives you a spot in that cabinet with a label called age, where you can now put stuff. But there's nothing there yet. It's just a spot opened up for you to put stuff in there. Make sense?
Yeah, so if I put like, say, age 1, age 2, age 3 for different shelf, so will Java accept this format?
Absolutely. So you could write it like this. You could say int age 1. Guess what? Java will now create another bucket for you, another pantry. He knows it's only gonna store int stuff, integer stuff, and he's gonna label this bucket called age 1. If you ever call age 1, it's gonna pick up from this bucket age 1, whatever's in it, to give it to you. Right now, it has nothing in it because we did not store anything in it. It just created the bucket for you. Okay? You can have another one. You could say int age 2. It will create a bucket same way. It's going to have the int type, and it's going to give it a name called age 2. All right, now let's see, how am I going to store stuff in it? Well, on the same line, you can actually store stuff too. Here's how it's done. And this is called dynamic initialization. You don't really need to know this word. Initialization means you are actually initializing it with a value that you want to put inside that storage as well. How it's done? This is how you do it. You first write the data type, which is the int, same thing. You give it a name of your choice. This is where you have control. But I told you how to write the name, so don't always be camel case right here. See, this variable name is like a camel case right here. Now you put an equal sign, and then you put a value what you want to store in here. Now what Java looks at, Java doesn't look at equal sign meaning they match, like this one matches this one, not. To Java, equal sign is called assignment operator. You will see that in the next slide or so. It's called assignment. Equal stands, equal is same as assignment. What does assignment mean? Assignment means assign. You give it a something that's called assign. That means Java takes this value and assigns that value or stores that value inside this bucket called variable name. That's all it's going to do. So whenever you see this equal sign, think of an arrow that this value is going to get stored inside this bucket called variable name. for this example, here's how we're going to do this. We're going to write int age equals 20. Now that we put equal 20, not only did Java create this pantry of int type and a bucket called age, but this number 20 is going to go and store inside that bucket as well, like that. Any question? No questions?
No.
Does it make sense?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Let's take a look at some examples. So here I am inside this public static void main, and what I'll do is first thing, I'm going to write something like this. I'm going to write int my number, int any number. Okay, I can hit this semicolon to close it. What just happened is a bucket got created, which can only store int, and the name of that bucket is any number. All right. Now I can put a comma and say, I want another bucket called another number. Then what Java just did right now is went into your computer's memory and created two kitchen cabinets. Both of them can only store the value called int. This one, the name of it is called any number, any. And this one is called another. Okay. That's all happened. There's no value in there. If I hover over this yellow line, it tells me the value of the local variable any number is not used. It's not a problem. Yellow line is okay, but it's telling me that you created this cabinet to store stuff. Neither did you store anything. You are not even using it for any purpose. Well, that's because we didn't finish writing yet. Okay. I can do the same thing. I can do it with double. And I could say any double number. Put a comma and say another double number. If I write another number, it gives me an error. Can somebody tell me why I'm getting an error?
It might be the format that it should be mentioned, the type of data what I need.
Remember, we talked about that the cabinet, the variable name has to be unique. Look at this variable name versus look at this variable name. If you go into a kitchen and you have two cabinets that says coffee and coffee, wouldn't that be confusing? You cannot have two cabinets that has the same name. Your variable names have to be unique. Right now, if I hover over, it's going to say duplicate. See, if I hover over, come on. There you go. It says duplicate local variable another number. That means you got two of these and it cannot be allowed. Now you can change that something inside it. You could say another decimal number. Java is going to be fine with that. Okay. Let's do another one here. String. If I write in lowercase string, Java does not know what it is. But Java did understand what int and double is, and notice when I type this, it changed color. Changing color means it's working. But if I do capital STRING, now it gets it, and then I could give it a number. Still squiggly line is there. Don't worry about it. And I could give it a name, let's say my name, semicolon close. It's okay with that. I could say another name with a comma, another name. Now it created two spots for me that I can store string stuff in it. Okay. Boolean, lowercase. This is only going to have true and false stuff in it. And I could store, let's say, I could give it a name like true or false. And close that. It created a cabinet for me. The name is true or false. Only thing it can store is Boolean data type, which is true or false. All right. Now, I did not add any value. You can either add value here when you create it, or you can add the value later. But take a look at this. If I try to print what's inside this right now, let's see what happens. I can say sysout. And immediately I can take this name of this cabinet called any number, copy that, and paste it in here. It's giving me an error. Let's see what it says. If I hover over, it says the local variable any number may not have been initialized. All that means is you did not put anything in it. You're asking me to show you what's in it, but you didn't put anything yet. But for me to put it, all I have to do is just take this name right here, any number, paste it here, put an equal sign, and put whatever number I want to put in. Let's say 20. And then close that. Now what just happened is this 20, we had a bucket. First, let me draw this. We had a bucket. Sometimes I call bucket, sometimes cabinet. The bucket is able to hold int. The name was called any number. And just by saying any number equals 20, Java will take this 20 and put it in that bucket for me. So now it's going to have this 20 in it. Now if I print this out, it's going to print 20. Let's take a look at it. If I hit the run button, there's that 20. Any question? Okay. Am I losing you guys? Where are you?
No, we're here. I'm here.
No, it's good.
Do you get it?
Can you put more numbers, like only 10, or you can put more stuff?
You can put more stuff here and you can make this very complicated. But let me take you out of this and do some small examples because it's like way too much in here that you can do. So I'm going to create a class called class practice. New class called class practice. So practice practice 1. Here's the question. Create a variable called mynum of type int and assign it the value 15. Okay. So for this, what I have to do is I have to create a variable called mynum of type int. It's telling me all of that, and assign the value 15. So first thing I'm going to write is int. And then I'm going to give it a name, and the name is going to be mynum. And with an equal sign, I'm going to put number 15 in it, like that. Now, if I try to print this out, easy.
Supposed to
Sysout,
be
It-
mynum.
spelling wrong.
Munum. Yeah.
Yeah, mynum. So sysout space enter. If I take this mynum, I copy this word right here and paste it in here. This statement system out print is going to look for a cabinet called mynum. And it's going to look to see what's inside this cabinet. And it's going to see that the 15 it got stored inside that cabinet, and it's going to print it out right here for me. So here we go. Run. Didn't do that. Why is that? Oh, there you go. There. Didn't click it properly. There's that 15. What if tomorrow I wanted to change that? Well, I can. I can just go in here and then write this mynum again. I don't have to write int, because int is the creation of this cabinet. You already got this cabinet. You don't have to create this cabinet again. If I write int mynum, watch what happens. If I write that, it's going to say, you already have one. Look at this, duplicate variable, meaning you already have one. Why do you want to have the same thing again? It's not going to allow you. But you can take this int off and say, don't create a cabinet, but I want to do something to that cabinet. What do you want to do? Well, I did put 15 before, but I don't want that 15. That was like the community coffee. I don't like community coffee. I want to change that to now Starbucks coffee. You want to put 25 in there. Guess what? When Java came to this line, looked at it, created a container for you, and stored this 15 inside that container, when Java came back to this line, he's like, oh, you want me to go to this container? Okay, I went there. And what are you telling me? You want to put 25 instead? Okay, what Java will do is delete this 15 and put this 25 in that container. This 15 is now gone. Now if I print this, it's only going to print 25. Whatever the other type of coffee that was in that container is gone. You cannot get that back anymore. Any question about this?
So that means it overrides, is it?
Correct.
The last command, right?
Yes, it overrode it. It always goes from the top to bottom. So Java will process your code from the beginning. It's going to go in this line first, then it's going to go in this line first, and then it's going to see this line, there's nothing there, and then it's going to go to this line and say, oh, you wanted to print, and then it's going to see nothing here, and this bracket tells him, stop, no more, get out of it, and he will get out. Okay? There's another way to do this. Let's say you did not want to assign this value right away. You can do that. So I'm going to comment this out so it doesn't get executed. I can do int and say mynum and not even put anything in it. I can just put a semicolon and close it and say, just give me the cabinet, don't put anything in it. And then on the next line, I could say, okay, now go to my cabinet, which is mynum. And with an equal sign, I'm saying, put this in there, put 35. He just put 35 inside mynum. And I want to say, print it out for me. So sysout space, enter. And in here, if I write print out whatever is inside mynum container, now if I execute, it's going to give me that 35. Okay. So the difference between these assignment you just learned is that you can assign the value immediately on that same line, or you don't have to, you can do it on a separate line. Any question about that?
I have a question,
Go ahead.
and that is that system out println. Over there, you wrote the one you wrote, the second one you wrote. So you have to write the second one only over there all the time. Can't you write int mynum?
You cannot write the data type in here,
Okay.
because that's just a data type for creation. This is like your magic spell. The moment you say int, you create a box for storage. You don't have to say that here, but you gave it a name for that box, and that's what's going to be the name in here.
And what if you have written first int mynum 15? I'm talking about that first one.
This one.
mynum 15. Yeah. And then you change it. Okay, you don't want that 15 and you want that 25.
Mhm.
In that case, below, if you write that print and then if you write mynum 15, then what will happen? Instead of 25, if you write that 15, then what will happen?
Why would you want to write mynum 15?
I just wanting to know, curious, that what will happen? Will it be printed or not?
Okay, if you wanted to write like this, let me comment this out here. And you wanted to say mynum equals 15 like that,
Yeah, equals 15.
and run it and see. It's still showing you 15, but this is not how it's written. You don't want to you don't want to write this 15. The whole purpose of this mynum is that today you don't know, today you know this is 15, or you know it's 25, but tomorrow you're not going to know what's in it. So you don't want to put a number in there. It's a variable, meaning it could change. How can I explain this to you right now? I didn't take you to that deeper level yet, but let me try to explain this. This is your bank account. Here's your deposits. Every month you're depositing a money, and your money adding up, and you get a new balance right here. When you want to check your new balance, the system.out is going to only call for new balance. The system.out does not know what your balance is, but this new balance is a storage container right here. It's going to go in and check your new balance and take that number and print it out, bring it over here, and then print it out right here for you. So that's what basically it does. You don't want to know what these numbers are. You don't want to hard code these numbers here. You want to put something there that users can keep changing this as they want, put deposit and store more money. Computer will do that. But when you want to print it, you just print the name of the bucket that stores that data.
Mhm.
It's kind of like this. You asked me, you said, why can I not write this word right here? Why can I not write int in here? Well, int is the cabinet, the hardwood and cabinet. You don't want to show the cabinet. You want to show what's inside the cabinet. mynum is what's inside the cabinet. Int is the wood that made the cabinet. But mynum is what's inside that cabinet. We want to see what's inside. Is it coffee or is it plates? Okay? Here's one
Okay,
more
got it.
thing. Here's one more thing you can do. You can put a word called final right in front of it. If you put the word final, you're telling that Java, do not change this anymore. If I put 15, that's if anybody comes in and tries to put something else, don't let him do that. Look what happened on this line right here. Now this line became an error. It's telling me, hey, this mynum is fixed. It's final. You cannot change it anymore. You're trying to put 25. Sorry, dude. You can't do that. It has 15 and it's going to stay like this forever. Now it's giving me an error. And if I read this error, it says the final local variable mynum cannot be assigned. It must be blank and not using a compound assignment. Don't worry about that, but it says that you cannot put anything else in it. It's telling you you can fix it. You can fix this error by removing the final modifier of this mynum. If you click on this link, this final word will be taken out and now it's happy. But sometimes it might be that you need this final and not let anybody change it and delete this line. Okay, you might need that one day. Other times, no, you don't need it final. You can let the user or anybody else change it the way they want to. Then I would do mynum. Mynum in short for my number, and then I could put 25. Like that. Any question?
Yeah. So, can we add more than one integer value in a line and make the comment to get more than one value in the output? Can we do that?
Absolutely. And that takes me to my next example is multiple variables. So let's take a look at it. Save it. New class. Because we lost the 2 hours in downloading this software on your machine, it set me back probably about 2 hours because the materials that I have for today's class will take me that additional time to go over. I'm trying to do as best as I can, but I think we might go all the way 1 more hour on this. Multiple variables. Multiple variable. Take a look at this example. By the way, you need to play around with this. So now you have little gaming pad in your computer. You need to familiarize. I am not going to be able to give you all examples. You're going to play around and get your hands dirty with this and then learn yourself. Kind of like going in a kitchen. You might burn yourself a little bit, which is a good thing. You're going to get tougher. So what if I have multiple values? What if I have like int, let's say int x, and I want to give it a number already in there. Let's say I want to give it int x equals 5. What if I had another variable y of the same type integer. Well, you can do that right there on the same line. You could just put a comma and say y is equal to 6. What did Java right now do is Java created a kitchen cabinet to store 5. This is called X. Another one called Y, storing 6 in it. And I can add another one and say Z equal 50. And now you got a bucket with Z. Let me redraw this over here. So this is X and it has 5 in it. Here's Y, has 6 in it. And Z has 50. You can print, do mathematical analysis of any of this anytime, anywhere. So what if I just wanted to print out the value of what's inside Y and Z? Here's what you can do. This out. But let's say you wanted to add them, because this is numerical value, you just want to add them. You can do X plus Y plus Z. And now if you run it, it's going to add 5 plus 6 plus 50 and display it right here for you. It didn't calculate properly. Why is it doing that? Run as Java. There you go. You see how I was click on hitting this play button, but it was giving me 25 and I knew it was a wrong answer because it was still thinking that I was on the previous tab, even though I closed it. But when I right click on this, multiple variables, and then click run Java application, now it's doing the right calculation for me here. Added the 50 plus 6 and 5 and added that. Did that answer your question? All right. How about multiple data types? Here's one. Create another class called multiple data type. Let's say you got a situation like this. You have a string called name, coffee name. You put an equal sign and you can put a quotation. Now you have to put a quotation because you're putting string value. And you store something called like community coffee or Starbucks. Starbucks. You put a semicolon and you close it. What just happened is a bucket got created and it's given a name called coffee name, and inside that bucket, this Starbucks got stored. I can print this out. If I wanted to see what's inside it, I could say sys out and just say print what's inside this bucket called coffee name. If I run it now, let me delete this part. I see Starbucks. Okay. What if I wanted to create another bucket called double? A decimal number. Let's give it a call. A decimal number. And put something like this. You don't have to put quotation if it's a number. you can put 20.56 or 67. This 20.67 got stored inside this bucket called decimal number. Now you wanted to print all of this in one line, you can do that. We talked about concatenation yesterday. That's the same idea that you're going to be following. You put a plus sign right after the coffee name. We know this coffee name is what prints this Starbucks right here. And we wanted to print this out right next to it right here. Just put a plus sign here and put the name of this variable, which is a decimal number, and it's going to do that for you. So I can type in plus a decimal. By the way, you see this red line right here? You can hover over and sometimes it will tell you what's out there that you can actually use. Sometimes it doesn't. Right? A decimal number. Soon as I wrote it correctly, notice the error went away. If I miss one letter, it gives me an error telling me, I don't know what you're talking about. A decimal number cannot be resolved to a variable. It doesn't know what it is. It's a good habit that you double click on this variable name, you copy it, and then paste it here. That way you don't have to worry about your spelling mistakes. Notice when my cursor is on this a decimal number, guess what? This got highlighted, already telling me that this decimal, a decimal number, this is the same thing as this right here, the memory spot that you're trying to reach. And what's in it? That 20.67. Now if I run it, I'm going to get this Starbucks 20.67. So you can use this idea of putting the plus sign to display multiple variables. Any question?
And I have one thing, like say previously you showed different type of variables, like you remember a long one, a long name of the variable. Say I need that one, right? And later while writing the code, I want to create a shortcut of that specific variable. I don't want to write the long name. Possible?
A shortcut?
Yeah. Say for example, a decimal number here. That's a variable, right? But writing the code, say I'm writing say 200 lines. I want to replace. I mean, what you call, like in the SQL, as syntax, right? I want the a decimal number as say x. Is it possible?
I'm still not 100% understanding what you really mean. Maybe I really need to see it in an example. But how about this? You try it on your machine and then see if it works or not. Later, after class, okay?
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Okay, here's another example. Suppose I have a string, first name, and I put John. And then I have another string called last name, and then I put inside Doe. Okay. Understand that you are just creating memory space and putting these things in it. You're giving a name of the memory and putting stuff in it. Okay. You now stored these two things in there. Well, you can do this. You can create another memory space called full name and put an equal sign and actually put this John and Doe, both of them together inside the full name without using the word John, without using the word Doe. All you have to do is take this first name, copy that, put it here, and put a plus sign and take the last name, copy, and paste it here, and semicolon to close. What you're just saying to Java, Java always looks at, if you put an equal sign, Java will look at the right side first. He's going to say you're trying to connect, you're trying to take the value what's in first name, which is John, and take the value what's in last name, which is Doe, and put them together with a plus sign. Well, this John and Doe cannot be added or subtracted. It's not a mathematical numerical value. So this plus sign to Java is like, oh, you just wanted to put them together. Put those two things together. Cool, I can do that. So he does it. And then with this equal sign, it tells him, oh, so you want me to put those together and put it inside this bucket called full name. That's what Java is going to do on this line. Any question? If I wanted to print it out, I could say, if I print out first name and run this, commenting this out so that it doesn't run, look what happened. John got printed out because that's the first name. Now I'm going to duplicate this line, Control Shift down arrow, no, Control Alt down arrow. Duplicate it twice. I'm going to take this last name, copy that, paste it here. And I'm going to take this full name, paste it here. And if I run this now, I got the John, which is this first name, got printed. Last name, Doe. And then in this statement, when it got first name and last name got added together and then put inside this full name box. So when I print that full name, it looked at that full name box and found that John and Doe together. Doesn't even have a space in it. Any question? I just wanted you to
So-
see how this thing works.
So
basically.
how to give a space in between the two words, John
If you
and Doe?
wanted to do a space, you can just go in here and put space right after John.
Okay.
And now if you run it, you'll get that space. Or you could say, no, I want to give it a space right before the Doe. And you could just take this off and put a space here. And then that's when you're adding that last name, it's going to have that space right here. So run it, and then you got that John Doe. But also you got the space right there. Because I
Cannot
added that space.
give this command in that line, the string full name equals to first name plus last name. We cannot give any command in that line to give a space in between them.
Yes, you can. Good question. Thanks for asking this. If you wanted a space, let's say you don't want to add space here, but you want to give it a space when you are actually storing this last name and first name, you can do that. What you have to do is add another plus sign here. So let me rewrite this for you because I don't want to make it complicated. So suppose, what do you want to put in full name? Well, you want to put your first name and then you put a plus sign and you're saying, I want a space. You put double quote and put a space inside double quote. This space that you put inside double quote, Java will take it and use it as a space between them. And then you have another plus sign. And then now you write the last name. You copy that and paste it here. Guess what? Between the first name and the last name with double quote, you added another string space right here. And that's going to get printed right here. If I run it, there. No space, no space, space. No space, no space, space. Any question? All right. Let me comment this, go down here, and show you a few more things. So what if I wanted to store a big number? If I have an int, and let's say a number, or any number, and I wanted to put a huge number, let's say semicolon to close it, look, I got an error. It's telling me that this int cabinet is out of range, meaning it cannot hold all the plates you want to put in it. It only can hold so much. If I can reduce it down to its own capacity, now it works. But what if I did really want to put all this? Well, no problem. Just this cabinet is not going to hold. Who remembers? What do I have to change this cabinet type with?
Double.
You could say double. Double holds decimals, typically, but this is not a decimal number. The word is long. Goodness gracious, it's still not happy. You may have to reduce it down a little bit more. Save. What? Now it's happy. Huh? Yeah. There might be another data type that holds even bigger number than that. I don't know why long is not working. But yeah, you could say double. Even if you don't have a decimal, it will store double, but when you print double out, it's gonna show you the decimal. Let me see how big number it can hold. Not big. Delete. There. It doesn't hold anything bigger than that. There are other data types that you can hold bigger, but out of the scope of today's class. What if I wanted to print this out and see how it looks like? And I put in this name, any number. Run it. Look, I did not put any kind of decimal, but it took that number and put that decimal for me. And it showed me in scientific notation because it's a big number. Anytime you have a big number, it's going to do that. I can reduce it down and then not show in scientific. I could do like this. Run it. It's not going to show that E letter for scientific notation, but it does take that 954 and puts a decimal for me in case I wanted to use it as a decimal calculation and so forth. Okay. What if I try to put a decimal number inside an int? Is that going to be a problem? Let's see. So I say int any integer and try to put 25.43. It's going to complain. If I hover over, it says type mismatch. What that means is that you tried to say you wanted integer, but in here you're putting a decimal. You got a mismatching type. We cannot convert double into an int. This is a double. We cannot convert that into an integer and put it in here. And that's the problem it's having. In that case, if you take this 43 out of there, dot 43, now it's happy. Any question? Okay. But I was able to put this integer into this double. Why is that not complaining? I didn't have to put a decimal 0.0 or 56. It takes all of it. Double is less strict. So you can either put a decimal number or not put a decimal number. It's going to be okay with that. Meaning it can automatically change it. Integer, it has to be integer. It cannot be a decimal. Okay. Now there is a way you can force it. And the concept for that is called typecasting. A typecasting in Java is like you force Java to use one data type into another, to store one data type into another. Okay, you're forcing it. How are you going to do that? You usually, on the left side, you use an open close parenthesis. So use open and close parentheses and write the type you want inside the parenthesis. All right. The way to do that is, let's say, let me take this, copy this here, paste it here. I don't know if it's going to allow me. If not, just understand this concept. We'll do this in Selenium class, the idea. So if I wanted this dot 56, for example, and I wanted to put this number inside this integer, now it's complaining. It's telling me, oh, we can't because you got a decimal here. Well, you can force it. All you have to do is put an open close parenthesis in front of it, like this. Go inside the parenthesis and write the type you want. You can write int, and now you're forcing it. This is called typecasting. You got this decimal number, and in front of that, you're casting it, you're molding it into an integer. And so this whole thing is going to become only 25. And it's going to delete this piece right here and then store this 25 into this any integer. And that's what's going to get stored. So if I wanted to print this any integer here, it's only going to print 25. Let me run it. The decimal is gone. You can do this for various data types. Any question? Okay. Here's another concept. If you write string and give it a name, like let's say name and age equals, and you wanted to put, let's say, John, you can also put what his age is immediately right after with a plus sign and say age 27. I did not use quotation because this is a number. But if I wanted, I could use quotation as well. That's not going to be a problem either. But you can mix it up. For string, if you mix it up and you have a string right here and a number right here, it's going to take both of these and wrap it up into a string. So it's going to print out John 27, and you won't be able to do any mathematical operation on this. So watch this. If I print my name and age and then run it, I got the John 27, and I won't be able to add or subtract anything with that number. So what happens is when you combine string and a number, Java will convert this into a string and put it together for you, and you won't be able to do any mathematics with that 27. It's kind of like if you were to put quotation, Java will put quotation on that, and you will still get the same thing. John 27. Any question about that?
So,
Mm-hmm.
so is there any option to put the mathematical formula or something together with the string value in the same line, like string name and age? Suppose the age is dynamic and it varies. So today age may be 27, after 1 year it may be 28. So can it be automatically calculated
It can.
through this?
It can, but in that case, you're going to have to put the age in a separate variable called int. Age equals 27, and then do it like that instead of here as a string. Now, if you store this 27 inside an int, then you can go back and do mathematical analysis. Like, let's say you have another called another age equals 25. And now you can do system out, and right inside this, you can do that mathematics. You can say age plus another age, and it will do that for you. Age plus another age. And if I run it now, obviously it's going to print this John 27 as well. And then it took that 27, which is this age, and then 25, this another age, added them together and displayed 52 for you right here.
It is in the first line, like the string name and age. In the same line, we cannot do multiple option for the output. Is it?
Yeah, if you have one string and
Yeah.
one integer, like you wrote like a number, it will
Mhm.
automatically get forced to be a string.
So in case of getting the output, we have to put the integer and string separate, right?
If you want to do mathematics, you don't want to
Mhm.
combine string and integer together.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, moving on. I know not giving you any breaks because I really don't want to drag this too long. I want to finish this up and give you the homework materials really quickly. So I'm going to fast forward some of this. You really don't need it. These are different types of operators that you're going to be using in Java. Operators are basically symbols. Instead of words, they are symbols. Now, there are 8 different kinds of operators. I'm going to show you some today. You've already seen arithmetic operators, the plus sign, the minus sign, the divide, the multiplication. These are arithmetic. I'll show you a couple more. There are some others called unary operators. You saw the equal sign, assignment operator. There's relational operator. We'll go over something called logical, ternary, bitwise, and shift operators. Some of these we're not going to cover, and we're not even going to need it for our test automation purposes. Let's go into this arithmetic and finish this up. So here's our arithmetic operator. You saw plus sign does adding two numbers like 3 plus 4. Minus sign does what minus sign does, multiplication and division. Now this modulos or modulus symbol, this percent, is supposed to divide the 5 by the 2, and whatever the remainder is get displayed. I think last class we saw that it wasn't working. I think it is working. I just calculated things wrong. So we'll practice that today and see how that works. There's two other ones. It's called increment and decrement, and I will show you an example of this. This is, by the way, heavily used in test automation. So you want to focus on that. Obviously, all of these ones are very, very important. So let's take a look at arithmetic operators in greater detail. I'll create another class here. Save it. Close this out. New class, arithmetic operators. Right. I got this stub. I don't really need this part. I delete this line, go in here. I'm ready to write my code. Okay. So here's the, you know, the plus symbol. We've done this, so I'm gonna just go to this modulus symbol. What does it do? This percent symbol. Okay. Suppose we got two numbers. We got an int n1, meaning number 1. We put 5 in it. We have another number called n2. Excuse me. n2, meaning number 2. And we put 3 in it. Or 2. We'll put 2 in it. Okay. So in here, if I do sys out 5, num1, sorry, n1, and then put the modulus symbol and say n2, what it will do is it will divide this 5 by a 2. It's going to see 2 goes into 5 twice, so 2 times 2 is 4. Now subtract that, your remainder is 1. So when I run this, the answer of this should be 1 right here. Let's see if it works. There. Any question about this modulus symbol? We were seeing that it doesn't work, but no, I was wrong. It does work. Okay, now take a look at these increment symbols. So I'm going to put this together. And instead of modulus, this is called increment and decrement. Increment. If you put two plus sign together, it will increment the number for you. All right. How is it used? Here. I got this number 1, which is 5, getting stored. If I take this n1 and put the two plus sign together, it's going to increase this number 5 to a 6. Okay. So if I take this n1 and put a plus sign like this, it's going to increase this n1 to a 6 and then print it out for me. Let's print it out. Sys out. It's a little more technical than that. n1 plus plus. If I print it out, it didn't do it. You have to put this plus plus before. Let's see if that changes. Run. There you go. it changed it for you. But that doesn't mean that this N1 got changed, because I can still print N1. I did not change it. I just changed it before I printed it out. You're probably like, why do they even have these? Well, it does come in handy. If I take this plus plus off and run it, it's still going to give me, oh no, it did change it. Yeah, it did change that. Can't believe I don't remember this. Notice permanently this N1 got changed because I incremented it with plus plus. Okay. Take a look at this effect. What if I did not change it here? What if I put the plus plus after? What it's going to do now, it's going to print what was in N1 and then it's going to do the action, but it won't show you what happened. But I can still print that N1, it should give me that 6, but this will turn into 5 because putting the increment symbol after the variable, it will actually do it later instead of before. So if I run now, I get this 5, but as it printed this 5 from the system memory, after printing it out, it incremented by 1. Now this 5 became a 6. Now when I printed it again, this number no longer is 5, it's 6. Therefore, it got printed right here as 6. Understand? You are going to see examples of this in automation, and I promise you it gets simpler when you see it in the real world application, but this is what it does. The decrement does the same thing, all right? If I use, let's say, I want a system out, or I just write this right here, N2, and I put a 2 minus sign next to it, right? What's going to happen is this number 2 will get changed to number 1. It will be decremented by 1. And if I print that out now here, sys out. So let's print this before I change it. So I'm going to do sys out. And I'm going to print N2. Let me comment these things out. If I run it, here's the 2 data, N1, N2. I just wanted to print N2, and that N2 got printed as number 2. But it got changed in the statement. N2 is no longer number 2. It got decremented by 1, but I never printed it. But I can print it on the next line and say sys out. And if I print N2 now, N2 is no longer this 2. It got changed to a number 1. Decremented 1 and a number 1. If I run it now, this line gave me the first number that was there, which was 2. This line did a -1, ended up with being 2 minus 1 is 2, a 1. And then now that N2 is a value of 1, that N2 got printed up right here, which is that. Any questions?
This is so the double plus means it increases positively by the next value, like 5, then 6, then 7, then 8, and the double negative value decreases the value by the previous one. Like if it is 5, then 4, 3, 2, 1, and like this. But
Yes.
if I need to decrease by double of the previous value or increase by the double of the existing value, then what can we do? Like 5, then 7, then 9, then 11, or something like that. Or 5, then 3, then 1, and something like that. How can we do it?
Well, that's a good question. I'll show you on the next slide. Any questions on this particular one before I move to the next one? Okay. The other type of operators are called assignment operator. You saw one assignment operator, which is this equal sign. What happened? Here's an example. If you write x equals y, Java takes whatever is y and puts it into x. Or if you do this thing, takes whatever is in y, will store it into x. All right. Now, you have this plus and equal symbol together. If you did that together, like if you wrote like this, x plus equals y, first what's going to do, it's going to add this x with the y using this plus sign. And then after it got the result of whatever that is, it's going to store the result in the variable called x. Kind of like this. It took the x and the y, added together, and whatever the result was, got stored inside the variable called x. Instead of writing like this, you can put these two symbols together like that, and it does the same thing. All right. Same thing here. This is for string, and this is for adding and subtracting. You can do a subtract minus, then it's going to subtract those two and put the value of that here. Instead of writing like this, you can write a shortcut like this. Put them together. Same goes for multiplication, division, and modulus, and I'll show you an example right now. So let's clear this up, create another class called assignment operator. Okay. For assignment operator, suppose I got an int called x and I put the value of 3. And then I have an int of y and I put the value of 2. So I got two stuff right here. Now, if I wanted to add these two and store it in the variable called x, something like this. If I wanted to do like x is equal to x plus y, meaning add these two values and put it in here, I can do that. You can just do x plus equals y. And you just did that. And you can print it out. If I do sys out, now if I just print x, I will never get 3. I'm going to get 5. With this statement, what you just did is you first added those two. So Java went in and Java took this 3, replaced that x with 3, and took this 2, replaced that with the 2, and used this plus sign first. So there's two things happening. One, he took x and added with the y, which is 3 plus 2, and got 5. The next thing Java did is Java took this x and y, same thing. Instead of plus, now use this equal symbol, which means store the value inside x, right to left. Found the value of 5, that 5 got stored inside x. So this x value of 3, after this statement, is no longer 3, it became 5. Therefore, when I printed this value of x, it did not print 3. Instead, it printed me 5. Question.
So that means, for clarification of myself, that means x plus equals y. So x plus equals y equals plusing the value of y for the updated value of x, right?
Yes. This is like a really shortcut Java. I know it's mind-boggling. Let's take a look at another example. What if I did something like this? What if I did x minus equals y? What Java is going to do, you see, in this first statement, you already did a mathematics. This 3 got deleted, and we know that this is 5. Agree? Now with this statement, Java
It
is
will be
going
1.
to do two things. You're right. It's going to first subtract these two. So it's going to take the x and subtract the y. So here's the x, 5. No longer 3, because that got changed. Once you change it, it's gone. So now it's 5, and then you subtract the 2, which is this, and this becomes a 3. That's the first operation. The second operation is equal sign, meaning put it inside x. So whatever you found, put that value inside x. That means this 3 that got calculated actually came back again. It's going to be that, and 3 is going to get assigned here. So this 5 is going to get crossed off and become a 3 by doing this. So if I print it out, with the value of x, run it, and commenting this one out. Well, let me run both of them. Here was the value after we did this which was 5. Can you see that? But after we did this mathematical operation, which was like 2-step right here, the number got changed to 3. And the 3 is right here. Let's do a few more to really throw you off. What if I did this x multiplication equals y, and close it like this? All right. Gonna take a little bit of a work. See, let me take this line off so you can see better. Here, we know this one was 3 plus 2, 5. This got changed to 5. And then 5 minus 2 over here became 3. So x value is 3 right now. So with that 3 value, this operation is saying first multiply those two together. So that means x times y, which is 3 times 2. That's going to give me 5. And then the next operator is equal sign, meaning assign it. Assign it to the left side variable, which is x equals assign it. Now we're going to assign this value here. What value? We found this 5. So this 5 is going to get assigned. That means this 3 is gone. 5 got assigned in it. So if I print it out again, and say, give me x, it's going to give me, wait, sorry, 6. Nobody caught my mathematics was wrong. 2 times 3 is not 5, it's 6. So this is 6. That's 6. And then 6 got displayed right here. Any question?
So the system automatically calculates the latest or the last value of x that we got from any equation, and then it starts calculation from that on. Is it?
Correct. Absolutely. That is correct. Because everything you do, remember, this is the bucket, this is the cabinet. You created 2 cabinets, one for X, one for Y. And you first put in this 3 plates right here. But over here, you changed it. That became now 5 plates. If you ask what's inside, the answer is going to be 5 plates. No more 3 plates. And then you change it again here. You change it again here. Whatever's the last change you made is the last thing that it's gonna find when you open up that closet, when you open up the cabinet.
Okay, for clarification, another one thing.
Mhm.
If you put the double front slash in front of line 14,
Mhm.
can you do it? Then I'll go for the next one.
Sure. You
Yeah,
wanted to do
so-
what here?
In front of x, you put the double slash.
Like that?
Okay, so now it becomes as the fixed things that will not calculate.
Let's do it.
And now,
Let me print this out. Let me double do it here.
yeah,
So let's say we take this whole thing out of the operation.
yeah,
In that case, first thing what happened is here's the x and y. So you added 3 plus 2. So
5.
3 plus 2 came to 5, and that 5 got replaced here.
5.
So now it's 5,
Yes.
right?
So
And then this
yeah,
operation is our
it should
next
be
operation.
10.
So you got this 5, and you're multiplying first thing. So multiplying that by the y. Y is 2, and
Yeah,
that becomes
it's
10. And that 10 now replaces this 5
yeah,
and gets stored right there. So if I print it out first time, it's going to print out that first number 3.
yeah. Now it is 10.
Sorry, not 3, because
That
it's going to print after this. So it's going to print this 5.
mhm,
And then when you print it out second time, it's going to print out
10.
10. So
Okay.
let me
Can we
clean this
check
up.
it?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
going to
can we
check it.
check it?
And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to print it right before this, so you see it several times. First, it's going to print without changing anything with this 3. Second, it's going to make the change and print out
Mhm.
here, which is going to be 5. Third, is going to make a change here, and then it's going to print out 10. But notice I am printing out the same variable, but that same variable got changed. Before in that cabinet was 3 plates, then it's 5 plates. Now it can hold 10 plates. Here we go. 3, 5, and 10.
Yeah, thank you. I got the idea.
You're welcome. This is the 3, this is the 5, and that's the 10. Guys, I'm not teaching mathematics here. I'm just showing you how these data gets stored and replaced. If you think you're not a math person and you think that, oh my God, Stein is going over this thing right now, then all his classes are going to get so much more complicated and I'm not a good person in math. Maybe this is not for me. You are wrong. I am not teaching math. I'm just using numbers to show you how Java works. So if you understand that this is how systematically things are happening, for now, you are doing good. But you need to practice this yourself and keep typing up the stuff on your machine and click on this and try to make a sense out of it. Once you make sense out of it, that's the learning that you need to become a test automation engineer. If you don't walk that path, you won't be able to. No teacher can teach you this. You have to hands-on practice it. And the homework is there for you to do just that. You must do that homework at minimum. If not, you take it more, do more with this. Because I don't have enough practice written up for you to really do this and get yourself good at this. Okay. One more thing, and then I'll show you an example and show you how the homework needs to be done. The other one is called a rational operator. All right, so let me show you how that looks like. These are called rational operators. Rational operators are used to do comparison. Now, you've seen this in school. There's a greater than symbol. This is called greater than and equal to symbol. You compare two values, okay? Less than or equal to. And by the way, if you put 2 equal to symbol, this is where you're doing the actual equal to comparison. So if you want to see number 1 is equal to number 2, you use these double equal to symbol. Because if you use single equal to symbol, let's say you have the value of x and you put a single equal to with the y, Java will take the value of y and put it inside the value of x. That's what it's going to do. It doesn't understand this equal sign to match them or not. But if you write x equal to y, if you put them together like this, both of them, then Java doesn't do this. It's going to look at this number, and tell you if they're equal or not. If they're equal, it's going to spit out the word true, which is Boolean, by the way. If it's not equal, it's going to spit out the word false. Okay. As a matter of fact, any one of these operators you use with 2 numbers, only thing you're going to get back is either true or false. That's it. And this exclamation symbol that you see right here with the equal sign, that's exclamation stands for the English word not. So when you see not, when you see the exclamation, that means not. And when you see this exclamation and then equal sign, that means not equal to. Or this right here in this chart shows not equal to. Not equal to. It's going to check to see whether it's not equal or not. It's kind of like a negative question that you're asking. Take a look at some examples. I mean, hopefully this will clear up. I will create another class called rational operators. Let me just bring this up here. Relational. Relational operators. Suppose I have an int x equals 3 and int y equals 4. If I use this operator, sysout, if I say x is greater than y, if I put it like this, x, and I put a greater than symbol, y, what's going to happen is Java is going to come in. First, Java is going to put this 3 inside the bucket x and put 4 inside bucket y. And now you came here and you said x greater than y. It's going to first replace the x with 3, bring the symbol down, kind of like math, guys. And if you ever ask, like, why is my teacher teaching me these kinds of things? Am I ever going to use it? Well, you never probably had a chance to use it in your actual job, but you're going to start noticing a use for this in computer science job. And this y is going to get replaced with 4. And Java is going to compare it. It's going to ask himself, is 3 greater than 4? What do you guys think? Is 3 greater than 4? What answer do you get?
It will be false.
The answer you get is no, right?
Yes.
3 is not greater than 4. When you hear the answer no in your mind, Java does not use the word no. Java is going to spit out and say
False.
false. Instead of no, it uses the word false. Tomorrow, if I did x is less than y, this will be like 3 is less than 4. Java is going to look at it like, oh yeah, 3 is less than 4. Instead of saying yes, Java is going to say true. True statement. That's all it's going to print out for you. So these relational operators are going to just say either true or false. Take a look at it. If I run this, it told me because 3 is not greater than 4. It told me false. Let's try several of these. Okay. So first right here, we got this. Let's copy another line here. This time I'm going to change it to a less than symbol. Let's do a few more. This one is greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. How about both of them equal to, equal sign, and then not equal to. Okay. Let's run it and we'll analyze it one by one. Here's what we got. So these numbers did not change. So this is still 3 and this is still 4. It looked at is 3 greater than 4. Answer came out to be false. It looked at is 3 less than 4. Answer came to be true. Is 3 less than 4 or equal to? It's not equal to. Came out to be false. Are they both exactly the same with these two equal signs? I missed something here. I think I missed this one. This one goes to that, and this will go here. But are they exactly same? The answer came to false. They're not exactly same. Are they not equal to one another? Actually, they're not. 3 and 4 are not equal to one another. Because they're not equal, and that's what we're checking, the answer comes to true. And this true means they're not equal. I can change this number and then see how they affect. Take a look at this. I can change this x to a 4 and y, let it be 4. If I run it now, a couple of things I want to point out. This will become 4. 4 is 4 greater than 4? No more. False. Is 4 less than 4? False. But is 4 equal to 4? True. Is 4 not equal to 4? False. Got it?
Yeah.
All right. Here's an example, and this is kind of like what you're going to do in a homework. Let me close all this out. And sample question. Let me find that example here. Okay. Calculate, or I'll just call it area and radius of circle. Set a void main, finish. Here we have it. So the question is saying, question 1. Store a random value for radius of a circle and calculate area and perimeter of that circle. Display the results. Okay, display the results. So what it's going to do is you're going to have to store a value of the radius randomly, whatever you want. So in here, who can tell me
Stein.
what type of data do I need?
Stein, before that, I should ask, is it parameter or perimeter?
You can say parameter or perimeter. It's choices like tomato, tomato.
The
However,
spelling is same?
yeah. I sometimes say perimeter or parameter. You know, I'm not stuck with any. Not really know if there is a proper way of pronouncing it.
No. Actually, that I am not asking about the pronunciation or
You're
anything.
asking about the spelling?
Yeah, because the
Yes.
perimeter meaning the outer side, total length of the outer side border.
Yeah.
Yes, and
And
So-
radius.
parameter means indicators.
Yeah. Perimeter. The continuous
that I am
line forming the boundary of a closed geometric figure, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
that I am saying.
Right. My spelling was wrong.
And
Or
it
is
should
the
be
spelling?
radius, I think. Not
And that
radius.
is also radius.
Radius. Yes. Okay. Perimeter. Why is this giving me an error? P-E-R-I-M-E.
PERI, yes.
E-E-R-I. Look at this. The word perimeter is not correctly spelled. Change it to parameter. Huh. I don't know. But look, guys, it's not the English spelling that I'm teaching you here, okay? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about spelling. You just need to know how the Java works. Also, I'm not teaching you mathematics here. So that's why I chose something simple so you understand what's going on. But the heart of this teaching is what type of data type I need right now. Here's the question. And open your mic, guys. Talk to me right now. Because if you don't, you won't be able to do the homework. And I promise you, I do lose a lot of people. When I was teaching about 40, 50 students in the training center, this is where a lot of students start dropping out because they can't connect. They don't talk. They don't communicate. What type of data type am I going to store radius? I'm going to call a bucket. I'm going to create a bucket called radius. You got
So
these
this
options.
this is integer.
You got several options here. Here's your data types. You got int, you got double, you got string, and you got Boolean. I did not actually show Boolean yet example. What data type are you going to put?
It should be double.
It
Put the
is
decimal.
better to put double.
Exactly. Very good. Because you are going to be using this 3.14 calculation. And what if you have some decimal result? You don't want to leave that out. If I use int, it's going to leave this decimal out, and it's not going to give you an accurate calculation. Therefore, first thing when you read a question, you have to decide what are my list of variables. So here you need a list of variables, and you need a variable called radius. And you need to decide what type of data type, and we just talked about double. So now you're armed with that information, you can start writing your code. You say double radius. Understand that this is your given name. You can change it to whatever you want. You can't change this double word. So radius double, and you give it a random number. It says choose a random, store a random value. So somebody give me a random small number. How about 7?
7.15. 7.15.
7.15, even good,
Yes.
even better. So you measured the radius of a circle, which is, by the way, if you missed your math class, here's a circle, there's your radius, and let's say Chisti put a tape measure from here to here, it came out to be 7.15. That's what we're storing right here. Okay, that's your radius. Second thing, we also need, what else do we need to calculate a radius, area of a circle?
So pi r.
Correct.
So that is.
So the formula, let's look at the formula also. So area of a circle is pi times radius square, right?
No, just radius, not
No,
radius
pi r square. Radius
No,
square.
pi r square is the total area.
No,
Yeah,
pi
we
r
are
square
going to
is
do
the
that.
area.
Yeah, so the area is pi r square. Now I can't do square. Didn't show you how to do that yet, but I can do radius times radius. Okay. I am losing a few of you. I think I'm going to change this up, okay? Maybe this is not a good example. Let me just change this up. Instead of a circle, I don't think I have a circle thing in the homework. I have a rectangle. So calculate, let's make it simpler. Calculate and display the area of a rectangle with any given length and width. Okay? So, first thing you need to understand is how do I find area? What's the formula of area of a rectangle? You need to think about that. And in the area of a rectangle is actually calculated with length
Multiply by width.
multiplied by width. So all of us know this. This will be easier, right? So these are some of the things we're going to need. And then we're going to have to print this out. So very first thing you need to find is what the length is and what the width is. Okay. At this point, if you wanted to call this an int, it's okay. For circle, int is not going to give you a good answer. But you can also use double for int. That's not a problem either. Double is just more accurate. If there's any decimal come up, then you're going to get that decimal answer included in it. So somebody tell me how I'm going to create a variable called length, and I'm going to assign a random value. How am I going to write it?
Okay, so the length may be, suppose it is x, then the length may be x equals 2.5, say, and width equals 2.
Okay, so how am I going to code this right here?
That is the double.
Good.
Then the name of the bucket length
Good job.
equals, say, 7.5.
7.5. Good job. Excellent. You guys with me on this? All he did is he created a bucket that can only store double type of stuff. He named it called length, and he stored 7.5 in it. Okay, 7.5 is just a storage in there sitting, waiting for you to use it for any kind of operation. We also need width. So somebody give me width. How am I going to create a bucket called width and put that data in there?
Okay, say it's also double.
Double width equal to.
Width equal to? Give it a number. Width is usually
2.5.
smaller. Yeah, width is usually smaller than the length. 2.5. All right. Here's the rectangle. 7.5 is the length. 2.5 is the width. We know the formula is you got to multiply those two to get the answer. And you need to print this answer to the user. That's what your task is. All right. Now that you have stored the length, you stored the width, now you do your mathematics of multiplying them together, and then you use your system.out.println to print it out. That's it. So 2 more steps. Our very next step is the calculation that we got to do, which is this formula. And then the next step is print it out. So let's do that. So now we're going to calculate. There's 2 ways you can do this. You can do the calculation right on the same line where you print this out. You could say this out, and you could actually take this length right here. Excuse me.
Length
Now,
times width, am I right?
yeah, you can put the times right in here. And if you run it, it's going to print out the result for you. Watch
You
this.
don't have to put equal sign, am I right?
You don't even have to put equal sign. Okay. This is your shortcut, fast, quick, and dirty way of doing this, and you're done. Now, obviously, this is like, your kid goes to school and teacher teaches you how to do the math, and he turns in the paper with the answers, and he did not write any steps. And the teacher is like, what happened? Where are the steps? And he says, I did it all in my head. That will be this example right here. But if you wanted to take it a little bit farther and really make it beautiful, then what you should be doing, you should be printing this out. Printing this out, do the calculation and store it in another variable and make it more beautiful, fancy. Here's what I would do. I would create another double called area, a bucket to store the area. Okay. And in here, I would do the mathematics. I would take the length and multiply that by the width. What's happening is this value is going here. This value is going here. They are getting multiplied and stored in here. And now I can just use this word area right here. Print it. It's going to give me the same thing. But that's not it for me. It doesn't look like beautifully presented. What I need to do is I need to tell the user that length was this, width was this, and the area is that. So I have to put all those words together. In the homework, my expectation that you do that. You're going to get better at it. Because you're going to have a lot of problems doing it. You're going to mess it up. And then you're going to start trying to fit in your brain like, oh, okay, if I do this, I mess up. Let me try to see a solution. That's the hard path. You have to walk those paths for you to be an engineer. Without walking those paths where you sometimes you feel like you're going to pull your hair out because you get so annoyed by this thing. I promise you, everybody who was successful, one day they have gone through this hard path. If you walk away from it, then you're closing the door and you're not going to be successful. But if you pull your hair out, because I did that, I got pissed off. Like, why it doesn't work like this? Why is this is that? You know? But I had to go through it. I was like, you know what? If it's hard for me, it's hard for everybody. And that's what makes it so lucrative position, because then average people, they walk away from that and then they don't make that money. They're not successful because they walk away from it. So if I can go one farther step and put my patients together, then I can be above average. That means that's when I'm going to make that extra money. 5 times more than a McDonald's guy's going to be working and getting paid for.
Okay, Stan.
So
Uh,
let me
if
finish this. Let me just really quickly finish this one. 1 second. So here what I would do is to wrap this up. I already got the length and width stored right here, but I'm going to be nice and print this out to my user. Now, if I'm an amateur, then I would do multiple of these. I would have another one here, sys out, and then say the length is, and then put a space here, and then put a plus sign, and then put this length. It's okay, it's acceptable. If I run it, look at this. It prints the length is 7.5. This length got rolled into that 7.5 because this length is the same thing as this length is the same thing as that. By the way, that's getting multiplied over here as well. Now, if I want to be an expert, then I want to write everything in one sentence. And this is going to take you up a notch. So you take this off, challenge yourself to put all of this printing stuff in here. So I'm going to delete this. Here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to put a string that's going to say the length is I'm going to take a space right here because I need that space. And then I'm going to put a plus sign and paste the length here. Run it and see if it looks okay. So far, so good. Okay. On my next line, I want to print the width is 2.5. So here, if I put a plus sign and put a quotation, notice I can actually take this plus sign, hit an enter, it will bring it down here, and it's not a problem at all. Still, I didn't have to use this code twice. I'm still inside this println. And now here I can write the width is with the space, get out of the quotation because I'm going to use a variable now, hit a plus sign and copy this variable width, paste it here, run it and see if it's what I wanted or not. I ran it. Let me bring it down here. Easier to see. Is this what I wanted? No. I wanted this to be down here. So how am I going to do that right now without having another println? Who remembers that?
Hey, say again, please.
So I got this, the length is 7.5, the width is 2.5, but I wanted this sentence with the width is 2.5. Below this sentence, the length is 7.5. How am I going to do this here?
Also create new line
How?
by /n.
So far I remember you have to give the backslash or forward slash.
Yes,
Forward.
Stanley. You're on the right track. Tell me more.
Just give the after length plus,
Mhm.
then forward slash. No, sorry, backslash.
How backslash? That's it?
Yes.
Do you
Forward slash
remember?
n.
Do you remember
Forward slash n or not?
No, it's /n. But you are right. Both of you together, you're good. Remember the escape sequence?
Yeah, escape.
In escape sequence, /n. This, if you put it inside a string, it means a new line is created. So because I wanted a new line right here where it says the width is, so I'm going to look for that word, the width. So I see it's right here, the width. So if I go in here and put a /n, immediately Java is going to take that and process it into a brand new line. If I run it now, the whole sentence just got dropped down. Any question? Okay, we're almost there. We got the length is 7.5 showing beautifully to my user. The width is 2.5. And now I'm going to say the area of the rectangle is, and then the calculation, and then display it. So I am still going to be inside this same statement and do this process, which is called concatenation. Very, very important in your test automation, because in your test automation, you are going to be putting these kinds of things to generate a report. If there was an area and a length and a width and you wanted to calculate from a website and you want to run your test case, the automation is going to print this out. You need this printed out so that a test automation engineer can read this and understand what you're trying to do here. And it's written in one line like that. If you don't write it in one line, they're going to think you are an amateur coder. Okay. So here I'm going to go and I can put a plus right here and write more stuff here, but maybe I want to just stay within the same line frame. I don't want to go way up there because I can't see it. And I'm going to have to scroll left and right too much, back and forth. No, don't do that. What you do is just bring this plus sign, hit an enter, bring it down here. Okay? Bring it down here. It looks nicer. It's more readable that way. And then here you write the area of this rectangle is, put a space because you need a space. You don't want that number to butt against this is word. Hit the plus button here, get out of this quotation, hit the plus. Understand this is exactly what Java is going to print out. But over here, you want to print out this variable called area. Whatever the area was got calculated and placed in that bucket, I want you to print it out here. Run it. Almost there, except I don't like this showing right next to this right here. Well, no problem. Just like you had this escape sequence added here, if you take that escape sequence, copy that and paste it here, only one backward slash. And now if you run it, this whole sentence is going to get dropped down. There. Any question?
Yeah. Now, if I need to know the perimeter of this rectangle, because there are some multiple complex or complex calculation than this one, maybe.
Yeah. Then this is what you would do.
Yes.
Understand that you want to keep your work organized. These are your list of variables. Is it okay for you to create a variable here called double and then call it perimeter? Meter. Sure. And you can do your mathematics right here. You could take the length times the width and no, length plus width. What's the formula?
2 length plus 2 width.
Okay, well, we can do it like this too, right? Length plus width, DTH, and then times it by 2.
Yes.
Same thing?
Yeah, it is same.
Yeah, notice no problem, no complaint. Only this yellow line saying Java is telling you, hey, you use this perimeter cabinet and you put this computations and then you put the results, but you're not even using it. You sure you want it? That yellow line means that you're not using it. But if soon as I start printing this out, it's gonna go away. It's gonna like, oh, I see. You're trying to show it to people now. Makes sense. But what I wanted to say is, because you got all your list of variables here, you should not have this down here. You should take this and put it right next to all of those guys. That's called clean code. Instead of random stuff everywhere, you organize your code into all your variable where you're declaring memory, taking a spot from your RAM in your computer and trying to store data. You do it all in one place. If a new user comes in tomorrow, if you got, laid off or you took another job with somebody, but this is your code, guess what? The new guy replacing you, he is also going to go and create a variable here tomorrow when he needs another one. He's going to carry on from your code underneath that. That's why it's very, very important that your code is organized for continuity and everybody else can contribute to your code and make it better, bigger, stronger. In this case now, you can still print it out here. You could go into this same concatenation. You don't need another system out. I would just hit a plus. I would hit an enter here, a plus, go in here, and I know that I'm going to need an escape sequence. So I'm going to put an N. Excuse me, N. And then I'm going to say the perimeter of that rectangle is plus, and then I copy this perimeter, whatever that is. I don't know. I don't want to know because it could be anything tomorrow. Put it right here. So whatever that is storing will get printed out right here. And run it. There you
Yeah,
have it.
that is good.
There you have it. Okay. Here's your homework. This is probably the longest class I ever had. You go to this homework section and go to Intro to Java. There's 2 of them. Excuse me. So in Intro to Java, you got this. Did I show you how to do this, by the way, yesterday? Write a Java program to print hello on screen and then print your name on separate line. So here's an example. It should print out like that. The number adding and something, this is your test output. So if you can output, what do I mean by output? I don't really care what you do. This is your output right here. Okay, in this output, if you are able to print it out, whatever you write your code, if you can print out this right here, then you've done it. I'll give you 100%. Okay. If you can print out this is your test data, by the way. You want to print out this. When it says expected output, you want to print out that. That means you got to do this adding thing in your system out, dividing thing in your system out. This is just one line of code. And this one may have multiple lines right here for this multiple things here.
So you can submit the answer in Google Doc.
You can submit the answer in Google Doc. All right. Let me show you somebody. Let me show you a student who turned in, so it kind of opens up an idea of what's a good submission. From a previous class. Intro to Java. 4 of these graded. How about this gentleman here? He copied the whole thing and he wrote a lot more. Look at this. This guy was like amazing details. Here's his, this is the code that he wrote. Everything else is like the class. He copied the entire class. I don't need you to copy the entire class. I just need this. What did you type in inside yourself? So what he typed here, he typed in, he's printing out answer 1. Even copied the question. And then I don't really know what he did, but here he's printing a space maybe. But there's that hello and there's his name. So he even added that as an extra, the answer 1. But you don't have to. If you had these 2 lines, that's good enough for me. Okay, so just paste these 2 lines for me. And that's the answer for that. So just roughly, this is how he did. It's not that complicated. Okay, just type it in. I don't mind showing you the answer. This is the answer. That's 1 line is fine with me. If you paste that 1 line, it's fine with me. For this one, every one of this is going to be a line of code. Here's a line of code, line of code, line of code, line of code. But all you're doing is the system out, system print, and that. But he added more. He added like answer 4, A, He printed A and then he did the calculation. B and then calculation. C and then calculation. D and then calculation. All right. That's that for that. And play around with this this LV thing, and his code was that. Okay. American flag. Basically, really nothing. All the system out, the star and the dashes and everything. You play around on your system to see if you can come up with a nice, beautiful looking American flag with the stars and equal sign. And then turn in those statements to me in the assignment. Now, this one is a little bit more for these variables and operators, but it's going to be similar to what I just showed you. You do step by step, like say, create a variable to store your name. You need to ask yourself what kind of variable I need. It's going to be string. And you name it a variable, your choice, and then you put your name in it. Then create a variable. Okay, let me just do this really quickly for you. Here's how you would do this question. You copy this whole thing. You open up your Eclipse. You go here. And instead of saying classwork, you create a package called homework. So you right click on the source and you go to a package called homework. This is how you keep your notes in here. Package name has to be lowercase, homework. Create a package, there it is. Every single question, you create a class. You go here, new, and click on class, and you say question 1. That's it. Question 1, you put this public static main void, finish. There's your question 1 ready for you right now. Inside, what you do is you create this comment /*/ Inside here, you paste the question right there. All right. And what I did is I designed the homework in a way that every single statement should help you write your code. So this answer choice A right here, this A part, you can even copy it and bring it down here. And then give me a code for that. So I'm going to comment it out and paste it here. And the code for that is create a variable to store your name. You need to write string name or my name equals, and you say Annie. Okay, this was semicolon to close. That's it to answer that statement. Then the next one, create a variable to store your roll number. Copy that. Put it in comment. And then write it. Create a variable to store your roll number. Well, roll number can be integer. Int roll number equals provide any number, maybe like 14. That's your roll number in school or class. Create a variable to store your field of interest. And you can say over here, because your field of interest is going to be a text, you put it inside string and say field of interest. Remember, more you write, more descriptive this variable name is better, equals to, and you have to put it in quotation, you say, I like poker. You play poker. It's a field of interest, let's say. And then print in the format below using above variables and only one system.out println. So you cannot use this more than once. You have to use it once. And this is how it's going to look like. Hey, my name is so and so, my role is so and so, and my field of interest is so and so. So how would I do this? I would just, so for piece of the code for this part, I can just copy this here, put it in like that, and say sys out. And I can start. I could say, hey, I can put that hey right here. Excuse me. Hey, comma, my name is, I'm not going to write any Biswas now. I'm going to put a space. I am going to let this variable type up what the name is, not the actual name. So I'm going to put in a plus sign and just copy this first name and put it right here. This is what I'm looking for from you. And then I'm going to finish this off, and I need a period. See, I need a period here. Suppose I don't put a period. Let me just quickly show you how I'm going to fix this. Then it says, and my role is so and so. And then I can just put a plus sign, add another string, and say, and my role is. And at this point, I'm going to get out of that string and put a plus sign and copy this roll number, paste it here. I'm going to hit an enter to come down, hit another plus sign, and then put the next part. My field of interest is so and so. Then I would put a quotation here and say, my field of interest is, and then I'm going to put plus sign and take this field of interest variable, paste it here. At this point, I'm going to run it and see if it looks okay. I run it. So far, so good. My name is Annie Biswas, but I need a space right here. And my role is 14. I got no period, no space. You got to add that there. How? Just go in here, wherever that is needed, like this Annie Biswas, and then this and. This and right here needs a space. You just put a space. Run it and see if that did it for you. Put a period here. Challenge yourself how to put a period right here and a space, make it into a full sentence. Read the whole thing and see if it makes sense. If it does, when you're done, copy this. Copy this piece, put it in a Google Doc, submit it to me. Guys, that's all I got for you. Any questions? I know I kept you for like 6 hours. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. But still, I'm sorry to bother. Everybody is busy. So in case of roll number,
Mhm.
can I designate it as string instead of integer?
You're right. It will work because you're not doing any mathematics right now. It's going to give you an error because you don't have quotations. So if you change this to a string, I do have to put quotations around them, and it will still be fine. No problem whatsoever. If I run it, look, I got the same thing.
Okay. But my clarification was not that whether I can convert it in string or the integer. My question is, roll number is unique. That's why should it be in integer format or string format?
I would not put it in string format because looks like by the way the number is that I may be able to do some mathematical operation on them at some day. Maybe a roll
Okay.
number for Annie and a roll number for yourself, roll number for other students. I could kind of see, what if this was like grades, you know, In that case, I would need to do some mathematics. And obviously in that case, I'm going to change this to like int or double. Because with the string, it's not going to do any adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. When we do our test automation, we're going to look into every single data that we handle, and we're going to ask ourselves, what are we going to do with this data? How are we going to store it? We want to store it intelligently so that we can mess around with that data accordingly. Okay. Any other questions?